Berserk 367 caught me by surprise. From the foreboding words of Danon to the bombshell twist at the end of the chapter, these events could potentially lead to some of the most fascinating and insightful character interactions if it's going to go where I think it is. So let's jump directly into Berserk 367. This chapter picks directly up with Guts fighting Zod. The Immortal begins with a lunge against the Black Swordsman, which he dodges. Though, as the battle continues, it seems the friends of the Black Swordsman are having a lively time until Danon senses something awful. Rather, she senses that, in her own words, something is going to spring forth from the earth, one by one, and with that, everything will be lost. In my opinion, this foreboding is most likely what's to come in the next chapter, as we'll discuss later in the video. Though, as this occurs, we see Griffith approach Shirk and Farnese, who are taking care of Casca's unconscious body. Though, the worst happens. Griffith takes Casca into his arms, which sends Guts into a flying rage. As Guts goes to swing, he stops, just short of slicing Griffith, and most likely Casca, in half. The ground begins to shake and fall from under them as Griffith, with Casca in his arms, is seemingly carried away with Zod in tow. So, first of all, Danon's words of warning are quite worrisome, as what she said so far has essentially come true. The ground, as we saw, has started to crumble in Elfheim, and while we don't know about the rest of Skellig, we can only assume this is just the start. What's even more troublesome is the fact that she talks about a great danger that's going to spring forth one by one, and that all will be lost in Elfheim. Obviously, what that great danger is likely Griffith probably summoning his army of monsters to destroy Elfheim. That being said, for what reason would he need to destroy Elfheim? My guess is that, in some way, it poses a threat. What with the development of sorcerers, witches, and even maybe just the nature of the creatures which live in Elfheim, maybe something which directly conflicts with Griffith's new kingdom in a world taken over by Fantasia. So, my theory is that Griffith is now going to try and eliminate it altogether. This also makes sense when you consider a theory by the community in which people theorize that Guts and Casca's child is being used by Griffith outside of nights on a full moon, in which the boy would regain control in. This gives Griffith the opportunity to essentially just infiltrate Elfheim with no alarm bells, because slipping past the barrier would warn Danon of an evil influence otherwise. Also, special thanks to this commenter here who told me about this theory, because if this is true, then that would mean Guts and Casca would have to consider killing their own child to save the world from Griffith. That right there is certainly a twist of fate, and a cruel one at that, but fitting of someone like Griffith. This leads us to the biggest moment of the chapter. Griffith, and all of the confusion going on with Zod and Guts, simply takes the unconscious Casca. This leads me to so many questions that I think will likely be answered pretty soon, though we'll have to see. One of these is just, why does Griffith want to take Casca? Last video, I theorized that maybe Griffith wants to finally sacrifice both of them since they're still branded. But why just Casca at this point? What does taking Casca do besides enrage Guts further, driving him, and as well the others, to seek him out and put it into him and Falconia most likely? Now obviously we know Guts can't exactly control his rage well, so maybe that is one advantage for Griffith, but my mind also went to taking Casca as some sort of weird bride or something like that, but he already has Princess Charlotte helping lead and make decisions in Falconia. So just exactly what does he want? Obviously, I'm sure there will be people much smarter than I in the comments below that have thought this out, but I'm at a loss for words. And this is one of those times where I don't know. As for potential interactions, this is where my mind really starts to go. I do wonder how Casca would react. Will she simply faint like she did before, or will she retain her consciousness? And if so, I can't imagine she would be too happy with Griffith for all of the evil he did to her in the Band of the Hawk. Which is another thing. If/when Casca does confront Griffith on these things he's done, how will he answer? I can't imagine that any words will do. I mean, what is he gonna say? Yes, Casca, you know how it is. I just wanted my kingdom, so I branded all of you as sacrifice in hell. My bad. So, no way anything he says will be enough to forgive him in their eyes, in her eyes, or probably anyone's for that matter. And how will Casca react to this new Band of the Hawk? Will she primarily interact with people like Sophia and Charlotte? I mean, there are just so many interesting interactions that she can have with so many different people that would reveal so many different things about Griffith to them. She could possibly reveal something about the horrible things he's done to the original Band of the Hawk, his true nature, and from there, start a domino effect to turn at least some of his people against him. Obviously, I use Sophia as an example here, just a random one, but you can pluck anyone from the lineup of Griffith's stooges or confidants and get an interesting response. And it's that word, right? Interesting is probably what I use to describe Berserk 367, at least in my eyes. There are so many potentially great interactions that could possibly be set up for the coming volumes. We could see Skull Knight appear again. Danon may even go on the offense against Griffith, or who knows, maybe Shirk is gonna kick Griffith right square in the shins and banish him to the Shadow Realm. But that's what's cool about this chapter. It's full of theories to be had, and I, for one, am very excited to see where the series heads in the next handful of chapters and volumes. Though, sadly, we'll be waiting until mid-August for another chapter. So, in the meantime, I recommend you all check out my previous Berserk videos and as well my other content on Vinland Saga, Attack on Titan, Hunter x Hunter, and so much more. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video that you're hopefully about to click on. Bye-bye!